Welcome to episode 16 of the Collectin and Connectin podcast. We are a good vibes, top shot community. King Brett, you're here. Yo, what's up, my man?
Whoa, what's up, fam? Good to see you today.
Good to see you. Treaticus is out today, so we gotta bring in the big guns. I'm 3-ball 34, but today's special guest, this is gonna be great, guys. CNC member, OG NLL member, co-founder of the MasterCats, the one and only ScottyJ. What's up, my man?
What's going on?
Hey,
What's up, ScottyJ?
We did it. We're here. I like it.
It's great to be here with you guys.
Yes,
Dude,
sir.
likewise, brother.
We got glad to get the group together. We got Treaticus out of here, so now we can hang out and just
have a good
dig it
time.
up.
Yeah,
Yes,
We
sir.
don't have to talk about the Celtics at all. It's going
Not
to be
at
fantastic.
all. That was the one and only mention. What's going on, Scotty? How's things out your way?
Pretty good. We're just starting the school year. I got two girls, so they're like, running me around. I'm like their professional driver. One of them's 16, and she's just about to get her license, so that will give me some sweet relief. But yeah, everything's good, man. I'm up here in the Pacific Northwest, enjoying the weather.
Very cool. That's good to hear that she wants to get her license at 16. A lot of children these days are kind of waiting and just kind of counting on their parents. Good for you.
Well,
don't make it
don't make it sound like that. She's about to turn 17. So
okay, there you go.
Well, yeah, you said relief, and I would be stressing out. Like, that's a whole nother. Like, do you just have a slew of cars like picked out and you're ready to get one? Like, is she saving for it? Like,
I drive a 2012 Toyota Camry with 100,000 miles on it.
Attaboy.
That will be her car, and then my wife and I will just share a car. And I mean, we both work from home, so it's like outside of driving the kids around, it's pretty low key. So we're good.
So no like 2-door convertible. Daddy's got a new whip driving around the Pacific Northwest.
I mean, if I can pull it off, I would, but I can't.
It's okay, me either. I have a remote control convertible that I drive around sometimes. It's quite nice.
Nice.
Speaking of convertible weather and whatnot, you've gotten to move around from that Pacific Northwest, go to a few Top Shot tours and different IRLs and whatnot. I have a couple things to bring up, but just tell me a little bit about your Top Shot journey. You're an OG in the NLL. Both Brett and I are both cool cats with you. So just talk to us a little bit about you and your journey.
Started in shocker. I started in February of 2021. Like everybody, I remember my first pack I pulled. Well, let me just say, like, I went into it with a friend of mine. We were both really into technology and like our day jobs and whatnot. And we were already exploring blockchain for another use case through financial services. And we found out about this Top Shot thing, right? So he and I were like, look, we're just going to like put in $100 and we're going to like see where it goes. And my very first pack, February, I pulled a LeBron James, and I think it was like a $9 pack. And I flipped it for like $75 in like 3.5 minutes or something, right? Which is like winning the first time you play craps, right? Like, I mean, you're destined.
You're hooked for life.
You're hooked for life.
Sick reference. I like it.
And then my buddy was like, well, he had a similar experience. He's like, well, I doubled my money, I'm out. And I was like, I doubled my money and I'm doubling down and I'm tripling down. And I just started going down this rabbit hole of honestly, it's been a great journey. Like I remember getting into the Cool Cats because that was the drop that was like happening right then at that time. And I remember gulping the first time that I bought Luca and at the prices. Yep. Yeah, exactly.
I'm still gulping about that Luca purchase.
So. Yeah. I've learned to I guess handle the gulps a little better, but no, it's been a great journey. I got into the NLL. I was so excited for NFL All Day. I'm a huge football fan. Actually, Top Shot, we could talk about this a little bit, but Top Shot rekindled my love and joy for basketball. I grew up a basketball fan and watched basketball every night, played basketball as much as I could. I have 3 brothers, so like we almost had our own team. And And then like I went to college, the whole like, lockout or strike, I can't remember which one it was, the Spreewell Carlissimo incident. I just sort of like dropped off. And then when Top Shot came along, obviously I know who some of the stars are, but I didn't know like basically any of the players anymore. And so that first year, 2021, was like me getting reacquainted with the game, which was awesome. And I love it now. And but
a lot of change since then for sure.
Yeah.
Lots of evolution there.
The talent, the gameplay is different. I mean, all of it. But it's been fun because like as I see the moment, I'm not only appreciating the athleticism and like the beauty of the moment, but I'm also like discovering like new players and like who they are and what they're about. And that's been a cool part of the Top Shot journey for me.
You mentioned NFL all day there. When this is coming out, we're mid football season. Pacific Northwest, is that Seahawks fandom? Where is that? Where are you landing?
Yeah, baby.
Okay.
You mean that hat he's got on right there, just repping it?
Very nice.
You'll see this later on in like January and December, January, February timeframe. You'll see a lot of this as we move into the playoffs, I'm sure.
Very nice.
But maybe
all the sad fans that wish that their team was in the playoffs, or
yeah. But I'll tell you this: regardless of how the Seahawks do this year, the trade that we made, trading away Russell Wilson, is the single greatest trade in the history of the NFL, in my opinion.
Okay, explain this more. Tell us what, like, you say that in a positive way or a negative way? Like you're happy or you're sad?
Well, so I mean, I was a huge Russell Wilson fan, as was like most, Pacific Northwest Seattle folks. Yeah. But like, the last year in particular, but 2 years, like, he really struggled. He struggled to hit like simple like out routes, 10-yard out routes. And some of that magic of like, the fourth quarter magic seemed to be gone. And then there's a lot of distractions going on. And so the team kind of like felt like it needed some type of change. At the time that they traded Russell away, I felt like we got fairly compensated, but had no idea that like Geno would be the world beater that he is. Had no idea that like, the draft picks would turn into who they've turned into, and that the Broncos would be whatever 3-13 or 3-14, and we get those. Like it turned out to be just such a great transition period and inflection point for the Seahawks, and I'm excited about this season coming up. Or that we're in, actually.
Yeah.
For sure.
Not only American football, though, Scotty, you also are, correct me if I'm wrong, a fan of the real football, as some people would say.
Yeah.
Soccer, what we call it in America.
Yeah.
Football. Yeah. Football is life.
Yeah,
Lasso fans out there.
Yeah, exactly. Football is life. King Brett, I'm just a fan of sports, man. Like I am just a sports fan.
Love it.
Like I played soccer growing up. My daughters play soccer. Again, another sport that I wasn't into in terms of like the international stage or whatever. But then La Liga came out with from Dapper, and it was a project that I was really interested in for like a number of reasons, but like just generally like hooked me. And I actually started to like spend a lot of time collecting La Liga moments, and that journey, the first season's over of La Liga. We'll see where it goes from here, but like it was a great time, a special time, and as a part of that, you mentioned those in real life trips. Three ball, I got to go to Barcelona with a couple of coaches.
Wow,
and go see El Clasico, Barcelona versus Real Madrid.
Wow.
It was an incredible experience, and so I'm grateful for that.
Yeah, they say a lot of us Americans don't understand what real fandom is until you go to a football game somewhere else and see what the club's fans just everybody is so involved, so into it. That had to be really cool.
Yeah, the chants, the flags that are being waved in the crowd, the pregame stuff, like. I thought, like if I took a bunch of pictures, and if you didn't know where I was, you might think I was in the middle of a riot because the police, awesome. Like right? Like there's flares going off.
I've seen pics that look like that. It looks like a good time.
and it was a great time. Like it was 99.9% Barcelona fans, right? And then like two dudes in the crowd who were like cheering for Real Madrid. So
yeah, I've heard that if you're cheering for the visiting club, that it's very tough to even get a ticket, get in there. They protect it pretty hardcore of trying to keep the riffraff out and home team fans only.
Yeah, it was pretty amazing in that respect.
So you mentioned your dark period in the NBA there and some fall off, and now I'm putting some pieces together. Pacific Northwest and Seattle, probably a Sonics fan early, Sean Kemp, Peyton, and you lose that squad, and now you're kind of in limbo looking for the next move. Is that correct?
Yeah, right. So, as I picked back up with Top Shot, I actually love the connecting part of CNC.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm a big community person, meaning like I gotta have my friends hanging out on whatever Saturday, Sunday, whatever we're doing, and just like chopping it up. And so I was like, how am I gonna find these different like communities? And so the NLL was sort of like the first place that I kind of landed to try and find some of that community. I then found like a really great group of collectors, many names that you guys know, that we are in a private Discord that like there's 10 of us, and we just sort of like talk strategy all the time and whatever. But I also found the Rip Pack City group with James Dillon Bond and NF Tweaker and Nantucket and all those guys. And they are kind enough to let this Olympia boy drive down to Portland and become like a Blazers fan. So
that's so awesome.
Yeah, so I started going to Blazers games. It's a 2-hour drive for me, so it's like I've probably been to 4 or 5 of them with those guys, and a few like pack ripping sessions with them, and they're just great. The community of the Portland Trailblazers community, and Mike G 503 and James Dillon Bond, what they've done has just been fantastic. And you guys know you're in the captains circles and all that, so like. It's tough work, and they do a great job.
They do. They're one of the across the nation. I think they're one of the most active, doing stuff, putting stuff on, having rips, having breaks, having all sorts of different stuff. They do such a great job. I will say, if you're willing to drive 2 hours, Dallas isn't that much further. If you want to drive down or fly for a game, I'm just throwing that out there.
So, well, that's where I met you, Brett. You and I hung out and had milk.
Speaking of IRL, you guys got together. That's pretty awesome. Tell us about that. A little face-to-face time.
I was down there for was I down there for work or volleyball? I can't remember.
Yeah.
I get to Dallas fairly often, it feels like. And just Brett was like, hey, if you got some time, meet up with me. I can't remember the name of where we went to. It was a cool place. And man, we just started talking like, and I don't know, it was like 4 hours later, a bar tab later, it was such a good time, man. We just hung out and had fun and talked about Top Shot.
Yeah, the lady was like, do y'all want food, or do y'all want, like, we're just like, I mean, yeah, sure, just whatever, we're talking. Like, you were like, yeah, give us fried pickles, give us whatever. And by the end of it, like, literally we're looking around and like people are gone, and we're like, oh my gosh, what time is it? Like, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it was so much fun. And the funny thing that, like, I never got into Top Shot thinking, and I don't know if it was the same for you, Scotty, is like, when I got in, I was just like, what is this? Let's figure this out. Never did I expect to be meeting such cool people, much less connecting in real life. Yeah. And like the stories that we talked about that night and you shared in the CNC chats. And I mean, we talked about everything from like real soccer to American soccer to football to wrestling to like craps, which is, I know there's some, I think all three of us have some crazy stories about famous people or people we've been next to on the craps table. Like, it's just, it's such a cool, fun night for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. When I got into Top Shot and like truly into the collecting side of it, I mean, obviously I want my collectibles, the portfolio part, to do well, right? We all do. But I've realized too that there are a few different groups that are collecting inside of the whatever the Discord walls or the four walls, invisible walls of Dapper collectors. And some of them are like crypto bros. Let's just use that term generically and non-gender. But like crypto bros who are like they make money, they flip, and da 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 da, and that's cool. Like that's one way to do it, right? And then but like I'm older than most of the people that are collecting on the platform, and I got
32 is not old, Scotty. Calm down. You're not that old.
I wish, man.
We all feel old in this space.
I'm 47, so like as 47, like I'm past the midlife deal, right? And I'm into the prime time. So I don't get too worked up about some of the things, some of the issues that Dapper has had, operationally speaking, over the last few years. I mean, I've gotten frustrated a couple of times, but like I've noticed that like people who either like the money is the important thing, like they get way more frustrated with it than I do, right? And for me, I look at it as a hobby. It's a joy, and also just again where I'm at in my life. Like I have probably more friends through the Dapper and whatever than I have in real life, just because of the limited nature in which someone who's got kids and works and whatever gets out and does stuff.
Yeah.
So I enjoy it, man, and I really appreciate it. I don't take it for granted. And so when I'm looking at my portfolio and whatever, like I'm just as happy like with my friends that are like making deals and like getting hitting moments and things that as I am myself. And I don't know, that's just my perspective.
That's so awesome to hear. It's funny how the team mentality kind of creeps in when you share each other's wins. King Brett gets a big pull, and we're all celebrating together. It's a cool feeling that way. And then to hear you mention that as the friends, we've been talking about that for a few episodes now. Of it's tough to make friends as adult males, and you can make fun of it all you want to, but like it is. You mentioned work, kids, all types of different things going on, but like, how easy is it for us to connect with others that we know we have common bonds in? We know we both love sports and have similar interests, and it's easy to talk and hang out. You mentioned you and Brett kicking it, and y'all sitting down and not even really needing the waitress to come by. Like, come by in an hour. Like, give us some time. Let's chat it up.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I started collecting like everybody else did right in the middle of COVID. And it's just a different world of where we're all, most of us at least, are at home and kind of isolated in general, right? And I remember after about I don't know, like 9 months of collecting or 10 months of collecting, one of my in real life friends texted me and was like, "Hey man, I haven't seen you in a while, because of COVID, and it's really, mental health is really important. I just am checking in on all my friends to make sure that like isolation isn't like getting you down." Kind of. I was like, I mean, first off, obviously, like what a great friend to check in.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, we all need more friends like that for sure.
Yeah, but also hard to explain. Like, no, dude, I'm doing great.
You're like, bro, I have more friends than ever. Like, I can't get off the phone.
I've got 47 Discord servers that I'm in, and so like my pings are excessive, and like I float around in a lot of different stuff, and not just Dapper stuff either, right? Like I do stuff on the ETH side and whatever too. So like I just thought it was kind of funny to like. I mean, again, I understand exactly where the sentiment was, but I was like, man, I feel like I'm more connected with people now than I was before because again, just limited opportunity as a adult male, like you said.
Yeah, so many of us, it's fun to see how active you are in our CNC chat, especially knowing you're in that many Discords. You can hear notifications going off now.
I try to mute them all, but like I missed one. Ding,
ding, ding, ding.
Sorry.
All good.
You have a one phone for every Discord. Is that how it works? You just click whichever dings and you just grab the phone, and that way, No,
what? Seriously though, I'm looking across the top and I've got 14 tabs open right now. So, which is
you've had moments while we've been on this recording so far. I can feel it.
Yeah, no, I've been paying attention. Come on now.
No.
Yeah, the tabs stress me out, and I still actually do it. But speaking of those, let me pull one up real quick. I combined 3 of your pictures here together. Speaking of IRL events, you got to go to Miami to one of the Top Shot Tour events.
Yeah,
you could see some Top Shot royalty in here, a couple Pack Rip Ewing, and a couple others that you got to visit with. Tell us about this trip.
that trip was amazing. I mean, first off, this event was like, I mean, it's called Top Shot, but it was top notch, right? Like you can just see how well put together that was. That was Meg and her work before she left Dapper, and I mean, it was just such a great time. And in fact, it was the first time that I had met like a more broad-based, set of collectors, because I had done some regional stuff, right? And so that one was just awesome to like connect with all these names from the NLL, a lot of the Dapper folks that I respect and chat with. I met Kyle and Vinyls, Matt, and a bunch of those guys, right?
Awesome.
And Glenn Rice, and I can't remember if the 2 of you were there, but Glenn Rice was there, and he was like he was an absolute beast. He was.
I appreciate you putting us in the same sentence, but no, we weren't there. That's
yeah,
awesome.
no.
We saw the pictures and the media that came out. Meg and Top Shot put on a great event. But yeah, Glenn Rice, what a mega talent that they pulled for that one. That's awesome.
Well, and sometimes these stars show up and they're like, they're getting paid or whatever, and so they don't, they kind of phone it in a bit. Not Glenn Rice, man. That guy stole the show. And even like at the end when we were doing the photo, he's like leading the charge and like, with the mic, and there was like a knockout or a 3-point contest. I can't remember which.
Yeah.
And he like announced for it, like narrated it, and was like making fun of everybody. It was so awesome.
Oh, that's awesome. So great.
Yeah.
What a good dude.
Were you in that contest, Scotty? Were you?
No, I got that out. Although that's where the J from ScottyJ comes from.
Yeah.
12 years old.
I was setting it up. That's why I left it out. I knew you were going to come in strong with that J. Tell us about that.
It's not much to say. I was, a short, slow dude who like could shoot threes pretty good. So I was like Dan Marley from I grew up in Phoenix, so Dan Marley was like, my sort of like basketball identical or whatever. I just sat outside and shot threes, and when I hit them, someone would say ScottyJ. And the 111 is just because someone already had that name on like some email account a long time ago. So I added another one, and someone had that, so I added another one.
Yeah, ScottyJ 11's out there somewhere dropping jumpers as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
So you pulled up my. Did you have another one you were going to move to?
I do. I have several things, but I definitely heard about you from this. My buddy Torque, Paterate, for you. Great shout out to my guy. I had joined the NLL, and he was like, "Man, do you know about these NFTs that are tied to the Cool Cats? And do you know about ScottyJ and what all is happening there?" And I had no idea. So he was at least kind of catching me up. Tell us about the MasterCats and how you founded this.
Love Torque, man, dude, so great. Short version of this is that like those of us that were in the Nine Lives Lounge, I think it's probably safe to say that there was a little bit of disappointment back in like maybe December of 21 with where like the Soho House like concept was going, right? There was whether we made it up in our heads or whether it was like explicitly promised and not delivered, like there was a lot of frustration. And a few of us that like to remain sort of on the positive tip like always felt like we were standing back to back with our swords drawn, trying to like keep people from like going off the cliff. At one point we saw this we had Roham did an AMA, I think, and it was pretty clear. It was like, Soho House and the Nine Lives Lounge is what you make it. It's about your community. You have to do it, kind of thing. Right. And everybody was like, it's over,
Yeah, it's like, I'm not doing crap.
And so two other Nine Lives Lounge members and I were like, what would be cool is if we created a PFP project, right? Like just for the purpose of giving some identity to the Nine Lives Lounge participants. And so we, for a number of reasons, some of which being like lack of expertise on flow in terms of development, we built it on Ethereum, and we did a free mint, and we gave we gave first dibs to all of the Nine Lives Lounge members who wanted to have access to it.
Awesome.
So like something like the first like 1,500 or 2,000 or something were like reserved essentially for Nine Lives Lounge, and then everybody else after that got to come in and do it. And it's been a fun project, and we're still going. And here's essentially how it works. Like, we built it off of the Cool Cat set. So you've got the 30 for 30, with LaMelo and all that kind of running through all of it Easter egg wise. 9 lives, so the number 9 is Easter egg woven into a lot of that stuff. And what we decided to do was to like create one base version of a cat. In fact, there's actually 30 jersey cats in that set, one for each of the moments in our collection. So you can get the Luca cat, you can get the LaMelo cat or whatever, but one for each of those jerseys. And then so we have like this base cat, and then we're taking 9 different artists and doing a reinterpretation of each of the same cat, like reinterpreted for 9 times.
That's so
and
awesome.
The way it works is like
So
it has this like little carousel thing you can scroll through on our website and then lock it in, and that becomes the PFP that's out there on OpenSea. Now, like, so as an example, Punks 2023 is a project that's out there. It's been like trending for like 6 or 8 weeks. It's this massive pixel project. It's done by our Life 2 artist, MP Russell, the great MP Russell.
So cool.
Shout out.
Yeah.
So cool. before he did before he did his project and rolled his project, he did our Second Life for MasterCats. So we've got some super talented artists. Now we're only on the 3rd life. We're about to roll it on I guess if this is coming out in October, it'll probably have come out just by then, right? But it's
very
a 3D,
cool.
it's a 3D version for the 3rd life. And all those cats, like all the traits that people like about it that make it like their identity, are going to pop in 3D. So that's basically it. We don't do it for like, it's not really, I mean, everything is sort of like our cost. Like, we're not really, it's not a money-making endeavor for us. It's about identity and about giving us something to be proud of with the NLL.
Really cool to have a representation of the NLL and the Cool Cats. Sorry, Brett, for stepping on you, but the dynamics of it evolving and changing through the 9 lives is really cool, especially with what we're seeing in some things in NFL all day and hopefully in NBA Top Shot coming up. As for the evolution and those changing based on how the season goes, that's a really cool aspect of the project. Brett, what were you saying?
Well, before Brett, just on that point, I'd love to see us do some sort of like CNC like fit collection or something where like you could have your cats like come in and get CNC gear or something, right? So we'll have to talk about how to make that a reality.
That's a really cool idea,
dude. I love it, ScottyJ. One of the things that from the first conversation we ever had, all the way up to meeting you and then getting to know you. Since then, it's just one of the things I love and appreciate is we all in our own heads get into Top Shot for ourselves, right? For one reason or another. But I feel like, dude, you care more about giving back to the community, finding ways to plug people in, helping people. Like even talking about MasterCats, like 3Ball and I were in the same boat. I didn't even know, that existed, and it was like, whoa. And 3Ball, yeah, check this out. Tor gave it to me and sent it. I was like, what? WTF? First of all, I would have bought it. That's cool as SHIT. Second of all, he just gave it to you. And what is this thing? And I started getting all riled up, and I was like, I got to find out what this is. And I'm looking, and I start talking to you, and I don't even realize like this is like your baby, your creation, like you and your the couple other guys. And I know it's far away, but it's hard to see too. You won't be able to see it, but just sporting my MasterCat a little bit. Actually, will stay there forever.
Nice. I love it.
But dude, I love where it can go, what it represents. And you showed me actually that night some of the lives that potentially could evolve one day. And there's some really, really cool stuff coming.
Yeah, if
This
I
is
could have got my act together,
NBA.
we would have had zombie cats and undead cats by Halloween, but I just couldn't get it together in time. But
See, like I wasn't gonna say it. There's some cool stuff that I mean, it's just so cool, dude. So cool.
yeah, it's fun. Like, I mean, let's be honest, this is supposed to be about fun, right? Like, great that we make some money off of it. But you know, and when we all hope we do, or at the very least, we hope we don't lose our shorts, right? But like,
If you're
you can
Warren.
make a ton of money and be miserable, and like, what good is
Yeah.
that?
100%.
So that's what we're about, man. And so when I got connected with CNC, like, you know, I knew Ariel through Steady Breaks,
What
right?
up?
And yeah, exactly.
Shout out
And
Steady Breaks.
and Treaticus was a guy that I followed on Twitter because, you know, again, sort of like literally like with the swords, you know, standing back to back. He shows up one day in my Twitter feed with a pitchfork, and he's like, "Just put the pitchfork down." Just put the
That
pitchfork.
video was fantastic.
You know,
That was.
so you know, so like, and then SDA, I know him through NLL and MasterCats, and so just a good group of guys that I happen to know like individually, and
Right.
when I saw what you guys were doing, I was like, this is literally what I've been trying to say. Like, it should be about fun first, which comes from, in my opinion, from the connecting side. And then we share something in common, which is like the joy of the collection aspect and the pack drops and the big hits and all those things, right?
Yeah. And the swag.
And the swag. That's right.
Yeah, we started having way more fun with the Connectin, Brett.
That's, dude. I've never been to Vegas for, you know, the NBA and the summer league, and but always wanted to. Was so close this year. Had plans, a couple other people like we're gonna do it, and then it just didn't come together. And then I saw this shirt and I was like, oh my gosh, I want that so bad. And part of Collectin Connectin, you know, I reached out, I was like, ScottyJ, I know you're in Vegas. Wasn't it also a birthday? Like, didn't you celebrate like a birthday or something else you were there for? You took the family first and kind of hanging out before NBA Con?
Yeah. I mean, you guys know this, but my father passed away in June, and I had a trip to Vegas planned for June. And after that period of time, you know, like my family, everyone had just kind of gone through it, right? So we found this like 4 days where our kids are not in sports and we're not going, you know. So we were like, you know, we're gonna go to Las Vegas, sit by a pool, and just enjoy ourselves. And at the same time, it happened to be NBA convention, so I parlayed the weekend into that. And
nice planning, ScottyJ.
I mean, it was totally coincidental. And my wife took the kids home, and then I spent the next 3 days with my buddies doing the nerdy NFT stuff, as she calls it.
That's such a stud move right there.
It's
by your wife and by you.
Yeah, it's definitely a pro move, honestly.
Yeah, it was. I'm learning a lot from you. I'm taking notes. I'm just saying.
That joking aside, like that's one of the coolest parts. Besides getting to know new friends, and we've already mentioned that part of us just connecting. But say you're interested in the collecting side, and you really want to focus on getting better, and you're by yourself or just with one other person. Me and Brett talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
If you get in one of these communities and start rubbing elbows with these other people, they're the most active people in the chats. And the stuff we're learning from you and Ariel, like you already name dropped several of them, but we have great people in these Discords, and I'm learning how to collect from you guys. So yeah, I appreciate everything y'all share.
That's a great point. I mean, for me, I've made a lot of mistakes, if you want to call them that, right? Like mistakes that, like, once you learn that, you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't buy into a challenge pump, you know, like not knowing that it's challenge.
Oh, it totally makes sense,
right? Like maybe I ought to read and know what's going on, and you know, and so it's great to help people, you know, see things that you have maybe run into. Because, you know, again, at the end of the day, like if people are losing, you know, their shorts, that's not gonna be fun. They're not gonna be. So let's help people like get where they need to go. And it's one thing I think is so cool about the collecting side is there are just so many different ways to go about it, right? Like I started off like, I'm going to be a set collector. I'm going to collect these sets, right? I got cool cats, and you know, and then after a while, it was like, I don't think I want to collect more sets because I'm going to be on this path forever of always trying to go for like more sets and more sets and more sets. Now that is some other people's journey, but I started to sell off a bunch of my sets and I started to focus on more of the Flash Challenge, the MSFE like aspect of it from Series 2,
Right.
Yeah. And I collected a lot of stuff, one of each to get, have enough to participate in those things. Then they took the weed away and have kind of changed the approach there. So now I'm really focused on Top Shot debuts and on Series 1 and on like good like star like legendary type moments and like what I would leveling up my collection. So holding on to whatever moments, doesn't matter what rarity or set that I love, because I was there's some moments that I just absolutely
like what you love, man.
Yep. But then from like an actual collection standpoint, I want to have the certain segment, and I'm doing pretty well at collecting through that group. So, my Top Shot purchases are probably going to be like a lot fewer and far between. And now I'm looking at all day from the same lens and trying to like. I bought Rumble for the first time, so I'm going to do Rumble this season.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Rumble's like a fantasy style type that where you can use your NFL all day moments. Is that
exactly? Correct? Yep. Yeah. Kind of the moment ranks, but maybe closer to DFS.
Yeah. With Treaticus not here, he would definitely be getting in the gamification versus collecting. But I think a lot of us believe that there's room for both. And as you mentioned, everybody kind of collects their own way, and you've even evolved and changed. King Brett and I have definitely changed gears. And I definitely understand that, we all collect differently.
Yeah. And I think the gamification question, like people say, well, that's not a part of being a collectible. And my sort of short answer is like, neither is it being digital on a blockchain. Like,
right.
There's room for thinking differently about a new like technology, right? We don't have to put it into some of the same boxes. In fact, that's the whole point of the technology, I think.
For sure.
Allows you to do some different things. Now, I do get the bigger point that they're making, right? About how it affects the prices in the market and types of things. And, I personally like that aspect of it. I've always been a fantasy football DFS type person. So, and I liked it with Flash challenges. Yeah. But I also understand like the argument of purity when it comes to collectibles. I just think that, like you said, Three Ball, there's a way to do this that everybody can be happy.
100%. I think there's collectors, there's people like that just love adding stuff to their collection. King Brett over there, he's not a burner, doesn't like to sell. He just keep adding it in there and lock it away. I throw the key away, right, buddy?
I don't even own keys.
You're not one of those guys who hoards the packs, are you?
I can't. It's hard. If it makes it past 24 hours, it's kind of a big deal. But it won't make it past 48 hours.
If he saves one to open for to us together, I'm shocked. He rips them immediately. His FOMO, he can't handle it.
Yeah. So shout out to collector Demoka Prince, who's one of my good friends in this space. But he's a very savvy collector, even though I don't like to give him credit for really anything. But he's been like, the packs, the pack marketplace for Top Shot's coming. So what was the one that we could just buy a whole bunch of? Can't remember.
The double downs or the
whatever it was. So I don't know. He bought like 60 of them. I think I got like 60 of them or something, right? And we were going to hold on to them.
You guys.
Yeah. And then I think it was like midnight or something, and I ripped them all. And then NFL All Day just did their dynamic drop, and they said you could reserve up to 100. And I'm like, well, that's ridiculous. I'm going to reserve up to 25. And then that morning, Mocha's like, I think these packs are going to resell really good. So I bumped it up to 60. I hit like 35 of them, right? And we're like, I'm watching it's like at least a 20 or 25% increase in the flip. But do you think we sold it? I sold the first 10 on the marketplace, started ripping, and was like, oh my God, this is so much fun. By the time I had bought back the 10 plus a whole bunch more. And Mocha's sitting there on his packs, just like watching the price go up, waiting to sell. Can't do it, Brett. Can't do it.
Yeah. I know. You and I are the same. It's hard. We just want more.
That's it. Yep.
We're the same, but we're also, based on that story, man, 60 packs. That's that tells me we're on different levels right there.
Well, I reserved 60 packs. I didn't get
okay.
Yeah, it doesn't mean you're gonna get them all, of course.
Good gosh.
Guess what? Three Ball's never done. Reserved 60 packs.
No, put it on the bucket list. ScottyJ, I crossed a bucket list item off today, having you on the podcast. Me and King Brett, we're very excited to have you here.
Love you,
Episode 16. Thank you so much for being here today, buddy. Appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you.
Thanks, ScottyJ. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. We'll see you later in the week on Moment by Moment and hanging out more with ScottyJ. Catch you guys next time.